Hi, I'm Alistair, and this is a story of how I went from a broke, jobless influencer to a content entrepreneur that sold over $127,000 in sponsorships for my page in a single month. Just over 2 years ago, I had 300,000 followers, but I was unemployed, depressed, and running out of money to pay rent. But just a year later, my follower count roughly doubled, while my income exploded disproportionately into 6 figures a month. This is a 5-star hotel next to the beach that I've been staying in for more than the last month. But more to the point, I've proved to myself that all this is actually possible. I've built that life my younger self always wanted, but it's been extremely challenging, so today I'm not here to flex. I want to show you the exact journey I took, including all of the messy parts, so you can shortcut all of the mistakes I made. So let's get into it. So my journey really starts in 2023. I was just about to turn 23 years old, and this was the first time in my life that I really became sentient. The first time I realized I could make my own decisions and not study what other people told me to study or do the job other people told me to do. I could make decisions that would make me happy and make me some money as well. And I realized this when I was setting goals for my year ahead and realized the stuff that I was working on, all the stuff related to my job, was not aligned with the goals I actually wanted to achieve. I was super psyched about this new YouTube channel that now has 300,000 subscribers. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I wanted to pursue that further. So I decided, I have to quit my job. I had to figure out how to tell everyone about this, because it wasn't just like letting my team and my boss down, but it was also my parents. They spent a lot of money to fund me through college, like to pay for my rent and everything while I didn't have enough money. And now to tell them I'm gonna throw it all away. But I decided that they're gonna understand. When this works out, like their potential is clearly there, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. This is gonna be better than a job. There's no way this doesn't work out. So I figured out some way to tell them. It was pretty hard. It was a very long conversation, but eventually I told my parents, then I told my boss, and I put in my notice. And turns out I was kind of wrong in the beginning. It was not as easy as I thought to make money. In the very first month I left my job, every single video I made just flopped. Flop after flop after flop for 30 days straight. And I thought I might have made the most horrible choice in my life, but I was also in too deep. I already burned my bridge. It is time to go full on at this. And I have 300,000 subscribers. There must be some way to work this out, right? So I decided I'm gonna start testing different ways to make money. So now we're in about May, and as I was paying my bills, paying for my rent, I realized that I'm actually still making some money. I'm not gonna run purely on savings. The YouTube channel has been generating some income. Some of it has come from AdSense, some of it has come from TikTok's creator fund, nothing really from Instagram. But on top of all of that, there's this little revenue line coming from brand deals and sponsorships. And I thought, okay, so if this thing is working, maybe I just try to double down on this. And the way to double down on this is to find a manager, right? These people that know how to negotiate. So I went on LinkedIn, the professional network, and started messaging people, seeing if anyone would connect me to a good agency or a good manager. And it worked. Someone did connect me to what should have been one of the best managers in the United States for tech creators. They literally manage all the biggest tech creators in the US that aren't independent. And they even managed literally the biggest creator in the world. I can't say his name, but he was the biggest creator in the world. They're part of that agency was part of the same group. So I thought, now I'm set, things will just work out. But after months passed, 30 days passed, 60 days passed, 9 days passed, nothing really came from them. I still had a few deals coming in, but they were actually from deals that I found and negotiated myself by reaching out to people. So I thought, this thing with the agency isn't working out. Maybe there's something wrong with them. Maybe I should figure something out on my own. But before doing that, I did consult some other creators that previously worked with agencies and then left the agencies. And it turns out there's this common problem with agencies where if you aren't the biggest creator in their group, they're not really incentivized to keep on working on you, for you. Makes sense, they're a business too. And so if you are one of the smaller creators, and at the time I was, even they had creators with tens of millions of followers, if you're one of the smaller creators, you might be better off trying to independently manage your deals if you're smart. So that's what I set out to do. I set out to figure out how to get better at sales, how to get better at negotiation, and learn how to actually pitch brands to generate more deals. Because if it happened to me before, it should be able to happen again. So now we're into about August, and around this time, I found a list of 10 brands I really wanted to work with. I went through some websites to find 10 emails that I could email and prepare these really long, really thought out emails, convince them they should work with me. I can create massive views for them, and everyone's gonna be happy. They should pay me a ton of money. Turns out it was not a good idea. Nobody replied. Out of 10 brands that emailed, no one cared to reply. And now I know like the stats of how cold email works, what I did, the strategy completely didn't make sense. But I was put down by this, and I started talking to friends again and started asking like, does anybody know anyone that could help with cold emails? Does anyone know anyone good at this? And that's around when I got connected to Yan. And before this, Yan worked at an agency where he scaled their sales team from basically zero, and they exited for over like 7-figure valuation, like huge exit. He basically built the growth and sales team over there, mostly on cold email and negotiation, and was related to marketing. I thought, slam dunk, I have to talk to this guy, figure out some way for us to work together. And took some calls and convincing. He had to do a lot of due diligence on his side to figure out, am I even like a good person to work with? Because he only works with very few people. But after a bit, we've worked out a deal that would make sense for both of us. To be honest, at the time, very scary for me because it was very expensive to hire him. I was dramatically reducing the amount of time I had to figure out this whole creator thing before I had to go back to a job. But I just went down, tried to be logical about it, looked at the numbers, thought what was the best case scenario. Best case scenario was awesome. Worst case scenario, I tried this thing. I basically tried everything at this point, and I'll just have to go back to my job. But I will know for sure that I gave this the best shot that I could have. So we agreed to start working together. And what we really started doing was taking the systems that he used in his previous jobs and started transferring it to brand deals. So we weren't starting completely from zero. We had systems that already worked, we know, for another market. We just had to start figuring out how to tweak this for myself and for brand deals. And in the beginning, this was kind of hard. I had zero sales experience before this, so it was kind of scary being on a call and asking people for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. But within 2 months, or actually, it might have been actually in the first month, we closed a $16,000 deal. And next month we closed a $10,000 deal, then a $16,000 deal. Like, things started working out. We started figuring out what were the mistakes that we made, that we adopted from these previous systems, and what we can do to make this new system even better. And this whole time, it was actually quite emotionally draining. I am not really a salesy call kind of guy. I prefer to be behind a screen. That's why I make videos. But I understood that this skill was important enough that I had to figure this out. Basically, every business guru, every successful billionaire out there says sales is the most important skill you can learn. So it was just worth it to learn it, even though it didn't work out. But man, it was really hard and really emotionally draining. So fast forward to January. This is a year after I left my job. The business now was doing really well. Things were scaling. We just crossed around $60,000 for the month in January. Totally documented, live on YouTube, by the way. We have these videos that you can watch where we documented the process to make sure we didn't miss anything. $60,000, this was insane. We started figuring out little mistakes we made, we should specifically target companies that have raised this amount of funding or in these sectors. We should email this amount of people at each company. This is how we should reply to the emails to increase our chance of converting. And I was getting better at sales. So next month, February, things got even better. And by March, this is a year and 2 months after I left my job. March was the time 1 year ago where the channel was going nowhere, nothing was working. We crossed over $100,000 a month and closed $127,000 in deals in a single month. And at this point, I felt on top of the world. I achieved this huge financial goal that a lot of entrepreneurs and all these people on Instagram talk about. I finally achieved it for myself. Now I know it's possible. It's not this crazy number. Bear in mind, my job before would pay $50K a year. And now we made over double that in a single month. So at this point, I realized we're probably better at sponsorships than most other creators out there. I started speaking to other creators and I realized that they don't really have a repeatable sales system. Most other creators are guessing when it comes to their pricing. They don't know how to get cash up front. They don't know how to reach out to new brands and generate new deals. Most creators are really bad at this. So I started helping other creators and started seeing some really good results. We can put a few on the screen now. Iman recently closed a $60,000 deal. Alina crossed over $10,000 in her first month after we started working together. And Lauren closed a $17,000 deal. She got cash up front. She's been a creator for 10 years and no one told her how to do this in that time. But now we figured it out and we just gave her our system and everything started working. Other creators started really winning brand deals. So now that brings us to the present day. Yan and I ended up making a group called Paid Creator Club where we did help these other people achieve these crazy goals. And part of it is to help other creators because I can empathize with where they used to be. But a big part of it is actually we kind of have a villain or a common enemy here. These agencies and managers, they're not who they say they are. They don't make the money they say they're going to help you make. The 20% isn't actually the cost of the manager. The cost of the manager is all the deals that they lose you. Like they lost me a $25,000 deal because they never replied to an email. And that was only one deal that I figured out by pure chance. I don't know what's the total amount of deals they ever lost me. But we created this group, this elite partnership for creators to help each other make more money. And now we're helping other creators that used to be where I used to be, not just become full-time, but become paid like a professional and have these really successful businesses that they deserve to have. So no matter where you are on your creator journey, if you're just starting out or if you got some views already, I want you to know there is a right way to do this. You can become a professional, you can have a strong business. You don't have to struggle for so long. The system is set up against you, but with the right frameworks and the right processes, you can create a really strong business.